y'all, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are returning, thank you and welcome back. For those of you who are new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and yeah, check out some of the old videos, like, do whatever you want to do, comment, whatever. Okay, so today we're just going to go ahead and get into the topic. Today we're going to talk about Love is Blind Season 3 that's aired on Netflix. So this cast was really interesting to me, and I think that I watched it with a different perspective. So those who kind of looked like the villain to most, I could kind of understand where they were coming from. So I just had an interesting opinion, and I wanted to just share my thoughts with you guys. If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, you can leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on these. So first, I'm going to start with Raven and SK. So this was an interesting couple to me. Like, I honestly didn't feel like they would be a match. I didn't see it just looking at them individually, but they're, at least from what we know since the reunion, they're still together. They didn't get married, but they actually are taking their relationship pretty serious, and they seem to, feel like they're a perfect match for one another. And for some reason, I don't see it, but if it works for them, then I'm supporting it. So, well, I don't know if I'm supporting it, but so this is my take on SK and Raven. So Raven is this gorgeous girl, right? Of course, SK didn't see that beforehand, so they did actually connect and fall in love from basically not ever seeing each other, just having conversations. And so there must be something there. But to me, Raven just seemed not, I don't want to say shallow, but just seemed guarded. I didn't see her like really be vulnerable. I don't know. She just didn't give it for me. But I guess when SK really saw her, something there, he connected. And I feel like for SK, he was patient with her. I think in the beginning when they first met, she was kind of hesitant to be physical and things like that. So I kind of at first got to feel that she wasn't really attracted to SK. But it doesn't seem like that's the case as we watched it more and more. Something about him she finds attractive. He's an attractive guy. I'm not saying it like it's something, But Raven is a beautiful, beautiful woman. Okay, and most guys would bow down to her feet. Okay, so my thoughts on that are, I feel like a lot of guys just get what's a good word for it, like hypnotized by women who look like Raven. Like, she's beautiful, and it's like he's willing to sacrifice and do anything, make anything work for her. Now, I was shocked, but also proud that SK was the one who said no at the wedding, considering all of the things, all of the obstacles that they're going to be facing in a relationship, period, let alone a marriage. So, my turn off with seeing them operate as an engaged couple, when Raven said, he was going to be, okay, so first off, SK, after they get married, I don't know how long, but he'll be going to do grad school in California, which I don't know how many hours that is from wherever they're at, or wherever they live. But Raven had already said she's not moving. She's not leaving. But she wanted him to still support her, like pay for where she's going to be living, pay for the rent where she's going to be living alone, as well as try to survive and pay for all of his expenses as a student, a full-time student. So I just thought that that was really selfish, because you're supposed to support your partner, you know? You're supposed to give that support when they're going back to school, and not expect them to pay all your bills too. Like, I just didn't think that was okay. So for that reason, I was like, good for SK for saying no, because, yeah, let her pay her own bills. That's all I have to say about them at the time. Next is Nancy and Bartise. So initially, I did think that Bartise was a good guy, but kind of seemed a little shallow. Yeah, he seemed a little bit shallow when he was comparing, you know, himself and Raven, which was also his love interest in the beginning. He would just be like, oh yeah, I feel like we're both two really good looking people. People are always gonna approach us at the bar, you know, like, first of all, dude, get over yourself, okay? Now, Nancy with Bartise, I kind of had a feeling that it just wasn't going to work. First off, Nancy wasn't really his first choice. I don't think she was. Like, I think he was really gunning for Raven, and somehow when Raven started doing those jumping jacks while he was having his vulnerable moment, I think that was the turn off for him. So he switched and like, nah, it's Nancy. It has to be Nancy. And so then when he sees Nancy, who is beautiful, like, Nancy is gorgeous, y'all. But when he saw her, of course her face is beautiful, and he's like looking at her body as like she's not as physically fit as Raven would be. So he's comparing that, like, oh, Raven would definitely be the one that I would be looking at a bar. But Nancy, we fell in love, you know, in the pods. So my whole thing with Nancy and Bartise, I didn't see this really going far. He is much younger than her. Like, that was my red flag with him. He's 25, and I know he's not mature. He's pretty much still stuck in that phase of looks are so important, which a lot of men way older than him are still stuck in that phase as well. So can't be mad at him for that. And that's where I give some grace to Bartise, because I know he's young, he's not developed, he's not fully there. He was not ready for a Nancy. Just plain and simple. Nancy, I feel like she's probably a hopeless romantic. She probably really did have faith that this would work. As a matter of fact, she did, because she said yes in the end and he said no. So it just kind of proved that, you know, Bartise was not for Nancy. The next couple, Alexis and Brennan, I don't really have much to say about them. Like, they fell for each other instantly, and you know, it was just like this natural love, and it was really exciting to see that even once they saw each other in person, like, they didn't have any hesitations. Like, it was still, the love was still there. You never heard them complain like, oh, she's not what I expected her to look like, or he's not what I expected him to be, and he's not what I would typically go for. Like, you didn't hear those complaints with them. So that's kind of how I feel that they have this natural chemistry, and it's probably true, genuine love. I really am, I'm shooting for them. I'm hoping that they last forever. Okay, next, Zenith and Cole. Okay, now this is the most complex for me, most complicated, because in the beginning, I just was like, I saw Cole and some of the comments he was making in the pods, and I was just like, oh my God, like why? Why another one of him? You know, he is not ready for this, obviously. But I will say, there were moments that Cole had that gave me the soft spot to realize that I think he really is ready for love. I think he really did want to take this serious. And I picked up on some of his behaviors. I was like, okay, I think he's really just a misunderstood person. He's brutally honest. He's blunt. And he says what's on his mind. He says what's on his mind. So I guess a lot of times I'm that same way, you know. And so a lot of times people can misconstrue what you're saying and think you really mean a lot of malice, but it may not be any malice behind it. You're just saying what you actually feel. So, for example, when Cole, at first I just thought he was all shallow and just a-hole type, but when he realized how shallow Colleen, who was his other love interest, when he realized that she was pretty shallow in the pods, and he stopped it and was like, I need more from you. Like, I can't progress with this if you're not going to tell me more than you're a ballerina or whatever. You know, that was her whole thing the entire time. And when he cut that loose, I was like, okay, he's serious about this. Like, I can take him serious now. I do think he was being a good, genuine person to Zenob. Of course, like I said, some of the things that he said just came off wrong. And I think what Zenob's thing is, I think there's a lot of insecurities there and a lot of healing that needs to be had. And that's why a lot of the things that Cole did, like, I just don't... Okay, so a lot of the things that Cole was doing and saying really touched a sensitive spot of Zenob's. And, like, it's probably things that she has been insecure about. For instance, the body imaging. I really think... And I definitely understand that struggle, you know, her with the body image issue, which I think her body is fine. I think she looks great, okay? But I understand when you look at yourself and you see differently from what other people will tell you. And I've had the experience of my weight fluctuating and being really small at one point and then gaining weight and, you know, dealing with comments about your weight. And I understand that that can be a sensitive topic. So I really do think that, you know, for instance, this is the example that I'm going to use. The tangerine conversation that was had between Zenob and Cole. I really think that Zenob overreacted on how the way that she took that situation. But if Cole had said it a certain way, I think that, you know, it would have been really sucky. But I don't think he was saying it the way that she took it. I don't think he meant for it to hurt her at all. So for those of you who didn't watch or don't know what I'm talking about, Zenob said she had only had a banana to eat earlier that day, and apparently they were supposed to be going somewhere and having a really large dinner. So she started snacking on maybe some nuts, and Cole was like snacking with the nuts as well. Then she pulled out a tangerine and she was peeling it, and he looked and he was like, "Are you gonna eat both of those?" And she was like, "Yeah, why not?" And he's like, "Well, because we have a really big dinner, you know, you might want to save your appetite." I think he was literally just saying, like, just, eat one for now so you don't spoil your appetite for this great big dinner that we're having. But for her, because the weight thing is sensitive, and I don't know what other conversations were had between them to make her think that he was picking on your weight. Like, I don't know. We haven't seen that. But in this particular instance, I don't think he was picking at her weight. I don't think he was trying to tell her, slow down on eating. One, a tangerine isn't going to do much to your body. It's not going to, it's probably good. I don't know. But I think that she took it as if he was saying, you're eating too much. Like, slow down so you can lose weight. I don't think it went that way. But, it's just sad and unfortunate that you see a lot of these shows I watch. You see people kind of sabotage the relationship because they are not properly healed from past traumas. And I understand those traumas. I understand that that's a sensitive point. But when it comes to dating and relationships, I think you really should take your healing seriously. Like, I've been through it enough with people who try to get in a relationship with me and are completely not healed from past traumas. And it took me to realize, like, okay, I'm going to find my past traumas and really, really deal with them too. Which I've always kind of been that person to want to deal with past traumas. But I never took the step until like a year ago to go to therapy and actually talk and work with someone on how I get through my past traumas. So I think that's really important. But yeah, so I just think that Zenab and Cole they clashed because he's brutally honest. He says what's on his mind, and she's hypersensitive, I think. Probably not hypersensitive. She's sensitive, okay? Also, another thing with them, when he, of course, his love interest in Colleen, when he did meet Zenab, I think Cole was wrong for being like, oh, well, Colleen is what I really would want. And then he started like making it a point to tell everybody like Zenab isn't what I would go for physically. So like he bruised that trauma that was already there for her. He was bruising it even worse by letting it be known like she's not what I would go for physically. Like, yeah, we fell in love, okay, but if I had saw her, like, I wouldn't have fallen in love with her. I would have wanted Colleen because Colleen is what I would normally go for. So I think that is what definitely put a strain on this relationship. I felt like, they didn't belong together. I didn't want this to work out because they're two different ends of the spectrum and they just clash. They don't work. He's too much for her. Personality wise, I think. But I really would hope that Zenab just heals properly and realizes she is gorgeous. Like, nothing's wrong with her body. Like, just, self-love is important. And I think she has that, but there's insecurities there that definitely need to be worked through. So that's all I'm going to say about them for now. The next couple, Colleen and Matt. They're still together, but this is a train wreck waiting to happen. Like, I didn't like this couple from the beginning. Colleen only leaned towards Matt because she had been rejected by Cole, who she was really into. Now, I did think Cole and Colleen, like, when they showed them in the pods, I guess that was their first interaction. I was like, okay, yeah, put them together. They belong together. But Cole rejected her because she was really shallow. She wasn't really giving him much to go out. Like, he was like, I can't fall in love with you just knowing that you're a ballerina or whatever she was saying. So I appreciate Cole for that again. But I just did not. I wasn't feeling Colleen from the beginning. Like, I just hate that she even made it that far. And Matt just got lucky because Cole rejected her, and then she's like, oh, there's this guy, not her first choice, okay? There's this guy that I'll get to know better. And then it just seems like at the last minute they fell in love. I think Matt seems abusive. Like, I'm worried for Colleen with Matt. He's hurt. He has trauma and healing that needs to be had. One of the biggest turnoffs with him, when they were at the aquarium, this was like maybe the last couple episodes, and they were on that date, and he was asking her, like, do you see yourself being with me forever? And she was hesitant, like, yeah. And then he started just being like, say it, say it, say it. Just say it, Colleen. Say it. I was just like triggered. I was triggered because it's just so many things about him that scream red flag to me. I don't know why she said I do. But I really wish she hadn't. And I pray for her safety with this guy. I don't want this to last. Let's put it like that. I mean, I hate to wish bad on somebody's marriage, but I don't want this to last. And I want it to end with them both safe. Because I'm worried about Colleen in this relationship. She seems... I don't really know much to say about... I still think she was shallow. She did open up a lot more towards the end with him, but I just, with him, I don't think they needed to be here. The other thing that I want to talk about with Love is Blind, because I had a friend send me a link that they are doing auditions for Love is Blind, I guess season 4 or whatever, in the city near me, and I'm like, I'm good. I'm good, and this is why. So I just don't think that they set these shows up well for black women with black experiences like myself.